Hi, I'm Alex.
And I'm Shane.
And this is the RPM podcast.
Welcome to another Roundup episode, an RPM Roundup episode where we will be talking about Sergio Perez leaving and Vettel being confirmed for Aston Martin Racing for next year. First of all, we've got a message from one of our fans. It's Dave again, so thank you very much, Dave. He wants us to go into Ferrari's new livery, well, not new livery, temporary livery for the 1000th Grand Prix and what we think of it. We want to see our reactions. So, Alex, over to you.
Well, I pulled up a big picture of it in front of me. So, yeah, this is the special livery they're running to celebrate their 1000th Grand Prix. I'm sure it will be not one to remember. If Italy's anything to go by, it's not going to make them go any faster. But let's take a look at the livery anyway. So it's a sort of kind of maroon base color change, basically, with the 1000 GP in yellow across the shark fin, which looks quite nice. I do quite like the color, actually. I believe it's supposed to be a reproduction of the color they used on their first cars, the 125, I believe. Somebody correct
very
me
nice.
If I'm wrong on that. But yeah, so that's what I believe it's meant to be. So I quite like the color, change. But there's not a lot that's different to it. Do you like it?
I do like it, actually. It's a nice difference. It's a nice difference to have. I do like it when cars spice up their liveries a little bit. More noticeably in the recent time, Mercedes did it. They went half and half for their 100 years in Formula One or something crazy, some statistic. Didn't really go well for them, that race. They ran a special livery because it was a certain milestone at Germany, and it was just a bit of a cluster, that race, for them. So I'm hoping that the same doesn't happen for Ferrari. Mind you, like you said, they're not fighting for wins at the moment. So hopefully it's not another double DNF for them. Hopefully we can see the car on track for a little bit more than half a race. That was the story in Italy.
Yeah, it was their 125th year in motorsport. I think that Mercedes one.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fair enough.
But yeah, hopefully it's like that. Hopefully it's as exciting as that one.
Do you think it's going to jinx it if a team runs like a special livery going back in time, that the race is going to be absolutely epic? It might pour down, because that's what happened in Germany. It may pour down. So hopefully, with a bit of rain, we'll have an exciting race.
I don't know if it will necessarily. I don't know if it will necessarily be any different, though, if both drivers end up bidding it and losing their wings. So I don't know if that will necessarily be different to what it was in Germany. But
I wonder if the team outfits will change as well, because Mercedes did that, didn't they? They all went back in time.
So,
yeah.
Maybe they'll get all their old caps and everything as well.
Smoking pipes down the pit lane?
Yeah, and Leclerc will demand normal gloves.
Yes, true. Oh, blimey. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I've got to say on it. Looks nice. It's a little bit different. That's all there is. It's nothing. The sponsors are in the same place and everything like that. They've just got the 1000th GP logo on the shark fin, like you said, and that's the only noticeable different thing apart from the base color being changed. But nevertheless, it's a very good looking car.
Yeah. Thanks very much for your message, Dave.
Thank you again.
Let's move on to our main topic of the day then, which is the breaking news that Sergio Perez is going to leave Racing Point. And very shortly after, as many people expected, Sebastian Vettel has been confirmed to join Aston Martin for the following season. Perez must be pretty gutted, I would have thought, because he has repeatedly signed one-year contracts.
Yes,
first with Force India and then with Racing Point. And then eventually he gets a 3 years contract, only for it to be, immediately cut short. This reminds us, of course, that the length of a driver's contract with a team is absolutely no indicator of how safe their seat is. Were you particularly surprised to hear this news? Because obviously we did mention before whether it was going to be Perez or Stroll.
I wasn't surprised. I think that, we've just watched the Italian Grand Prix and Stroll did a really good job to put it into P3. Lucked his way into that position, some might say, but actually held his nerve going forward. So a very good drive and did some good overtakes. So Stroll does have that racing, that racing potential. Sergio, on the other hand, he's had some fantastic races, but unfortunately his dad doesn't own the team. And that's the bottom line, I feel like. So not surprised, a little bit sad, but I'm happy that Vettel's confirmed. It's a bit of a mixed bag of emotions, really.
Yeah, Perez has done well in his career. He's had eight podiums and 615 points over his career.
That's a good amount.
It's good, yeah. Well, he's gained a reputation for being very solid and very dependable. Yeah. When we last discussed this, I was like, I think the smart choice is Perez just because he has that experience and he has that reliability. And I think the experience especially is very important when you have I know it's like a commercial rebranding, but in many ways it will kind of be a new team and may have a different sort of philosophy and approach to it. And I think it helps to have that experience.
Absolutely. And just on the back of that, it's not like going from Force India to Racing Point. That felt like a rebrand. This, I feel like it'll feel like a complete rebrand, a completely new entity into Formula One, with Vettel obviously moving across. So it's a big old step. It's not just we've changed our sponsor. It's well, they obviously have changed our sponsor, but we're changing the title name and the whole team around it. So Aston Martin is a big name.
And there's no denying that Stroll has, quite decidedly outperformed Perez this season. His results have been much better. Even in the last race, didn't really see too much of Perez at all. Stroll obviously blew his chance at the win, but at the end of the day, he was there. He was on the podium.
Yep.
So what next for Perez then? What do you think is going to happen to him?
Well, we've seen drivers take years out. Ocon came back, very lucky in my eyes. It's not because he's a bad driver at all, but usually when drivers leave Formula One, it's very rare that they come back, unless your name's Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, so Alonso's had a couple of bites of the cherry, hasn't
he? Yeah, he'll keep on doing that, I reckon. Hulkenberg, unfortunately, has left, and we saw him return for 2 races this year, which was great to see, but no closer to a contract that we're aware. There's still a few open positions on the grid. I know Haas at Alfa Romeo, they all have their driver lineups not confirmed, although if I was a betting man, I would say that Kevin and Roman would probably stay in their positions just because it's probably cheap. As bad as it sounds, cheap and cheerful, does the job. The car's not where it wants to be, so they don't need a brilliant drivers going forward. But getting back onto point, I think this is it for Sergio. I really do. I don't think he'll be back in Formula One, which is a great shame.
It's definitely possible. It could be the end of the road. I think. He might be a good fit at Haas because he brings a lot of sponsorship money with him, which a team like Haas, who could do with the bump, would probably appreciate. Mm-hmm. I think there's a danger that they could get a bit too comfortable at Haas. They need to shake something up. They've been a little bit pulled back this year, what with the Ferrari business going on, and they are very much affected by that, being quite a customer team, not just in terms of engine, but in many of their parts as well. I think if I were in Gene Haas's position, I think I'd probably be looking quite seriously at someone like Perez. They want to be bringing themselves up to being a solid midfield team.
To replace who?
Who has more? Who to replace who? Probably Grosjean.
I was going to say that.
Grosjean's got a lot of experience, but I don't know.
It's not all great, is it?
There's very little between Grosjean and Magnussen, I say probably Grosjean, but then the more I think about it, the more I'm not sure. There's not a lot between them, I don't think. They both have their moments.
I think Magnussen's got a better attitude towards the team. If Drive by Survive is anything to go on, I watched that a year ago or 2 years ago. Grosjean doesn't have a brilliant relationship with the Haas team at the best of times. So, who knows?
Well, yeah, coming back to the Vettel announcement, which followed shortly after. Again, not a huge surprise. I think a lot of people probably expected that. So will this be a potential resurgence in his career? I'm kind of worried that he might not be able to pull back to where he once was,
It'll be interesting if... It wouldn't be interesting. It would be good to see Stroll and Vettel go up against each other. Stroll's never been pitched up against a legend of the sport, whereas,
Who have Stroll's teammates been so far?
Stroll's teammates, he was in McLaren. Well, no, he wasn't in McLaren at all, was he? That was Kevin
Started
Magnussen.
in Williams, so that would have been Sirotkin.
Yep, so not much competition. Or not much desire, not much desire or requirement to really outperform. It was still Williams at the end of the day.
So he was with Sirotkin, and then he went straight to where his dad
Racing
went,
Point,
basically.
wasn't it?
So, yeah.
Yeah. So hasn't had much competition in the terms of teammates. Perez would have been a good comparison, but putting him up against Vettel, will we see the couple of tenths difference between Vettel and Lance Stroll? I think Vettel will probably have the edge, depending on how much they change the car. It depends on how much money Aston Martin provide. If they do, if they provide a lot of sponsorship money, then they can probably do a lot to that car. I think Vettel will be much happier, without a doubt, and I think he'll be better. I think this will be the resurgence of Sebastian Vettel. Will he get race wins? I hope so. I really hope they pull it around, that team. I don't think it's going to be a championship contending car. You can't really say.
Not straight away,
tangent.
but it could
be.
No,
but 2022, you never know. You never know. That's the thing with this sport. We've got this year, which is undoubtedly a really strange year where we're introducing all these new tracks and you can have like really, spontaneous races, which gets messed about. And then you've got next year, which who knows what's going to happen with the current state of this, of COVID. It keeps on popping its head up and prolonging things, especially just talking about what's happening in the UK at the moment. So we don't know if this is going to go into next year at all. So it could be a mixed up next year as well. And then going into 2022, complete new regulations. So we're leveling the playing field, cost restrictions, cost caps. And so who knows? Vettel could be back at the top of the pack. You never know.
Certainly would be good to see him in a slightly more positive team at the very least. It's been a bit of a sour, it turned into a very sour relationship with Ferrari.
Yeah, it has. It'd be good to see him in an interview where and Vettel's not very critical at all. In an interview, he's very polite. He's very, I wouldn't say he's upbeat. You can see he's sad, but he's never critical of the team. He's very honest and just says, it's not what we want at the moment. We're a team, we stick together, which is very commendable given the situation he's in. But it would be good to see him in the interview where he's actually happy after a race, finishing a race and getting some decent points, which he can achieve in that car. He could achieve it in that car right now if he wanted to. That's a top 10 car, that Racing Point. It's been shown time and time again. It's got podium potential. It just needs someone to take those chances, and I think Vettel is that person.
Yeah, we hope to see him return to form.
Yep, that's it. Let us know what you guys think about the whole Sergio leaving. Do you think it's a good thing, bad thing? Let us know who you think should have left in the comments below. Whether that should have been Lance or Sergio Perez. If you're listening on an audio podcast, by all means, jump onto Twitter. Let us know. Tweet us at RacePerMinute. Let us know your thoughts. If you've got any questions, again, you can tweet us, drop them down in the comments below, or email us at info@raceperminute.com. You can video yourself, and we will play it on the podcast and react to your question live. That's pretty much it. So thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you in the next one, which will probably be the next Italian Grand Prix.
Thank you very much.
What the track name is?
It's Mugello.
What's the track name? Mugello. Stand by for Mugello.
Yeah. See you then. Bye.
Bye-bye.